Oftentimes what we do is we go to the UN trafficking protocol definition. Certainly the definition was the subject of enormous debate when it was being developed, and the definition itself is quite complex, but I think that what it does is it looks at the three elements of what is considered trafficking. First of all, it's a set of actions which involve recruiting or moving someone. There's also a means, usually a coercive means of some sort, such as threat, use of force, abduction, fraud, deception, abuse of power. And then the third element is that there's a purpose, and the purpose is to place an individual in particular forms of exploitation for which they're being recruited and moved.
The way that the police and the government are collecting data is misrepresentative of what we're talking about in terms of human trafficking as well. So if we were actually using a definition, we would not have the numbers that we are currently seeing as reported by the Canadian government. And when you actually dig into those numbers, you'll see the fact that one of the largest categories of statistics was something called human trafficking related. This was where the bulk of the charges and the convictions were coming from, this general category of human trafficking related. And that was what was being presented internationally as Canada's numbers. We also know that we were even claiming that we had human trafficking convictions in Canada prior to the criminal code offenses even being enacted, which is a very curious process by which you should ever be labeling something, because these are simply not real convictions of anything relating to actual human trafficking. This is the related category, which just shows us how broadly we've been trying to cast the net.
From where I work and where I'm sitting in the Caribbean, the definition that's perhaps the most widely known is more attached to the US State Department and the US TIP report, because that is used internationally to evaluate countries as to how they're doing. And attached to that evaluation every year is a threat of economic sanctions from the US State Department. So many countries around the world outside of the global north are actually responding to the US ideas about trafficking, which are narrower than the UN ideas of trafficking and tend to push us to conflate trafficking with sex work. So the way in which it's taken up then is that migration across the border for sex work is automatically seen by people on the ground as trafficking.